What's good, my people? YouTube's Philan Speaks back. Another video. This video here was prompted by one of the brothers or one of the people who commented on my last video where I was speaking on the popularity of the WNBA and the national games that are going to be broadcasted, right? And kind of spoke for a moment about Aja Wilson and my opinion about her, that she should be considered the face of the league and she should be pushed as such. Because my belief is the product is basketball. So what should be pushed is the best basketball player. And there should be an honest assessment of who that is. And I think that should be promoted and pushed because I think that approach has staying power as opposed to the other approach that some people have, which is let's go watch the most entertaining person. And when I say entertaining, I kind of suck my teeth a little bit because those things are subjective. Players that are entertaining to one person are not entertaining to another person. Okay? Right now, as we know, Caitlin Clark is considered to be so entertaining to many people. And for me, it's something that I've seen before, and I'm going to address a few issues here. And I hope too many of you are not sissified and so pusillanimous to where, you're immediately offended and, you're ready to just, let me unsubscribe from this guy, though I'm very much used to that. I'm so used to people subscribing. Oh, man, they hear one thing, they say, I like this guy, right? And then when a real issue comes up and I give a real opinion, then now, okay, I don't like this guy. I'm kind of used to that, so none of that would shock me. But I'm still going to say what I feel like I need to say, and I think all of this is important. Okay. The brother made a statement that very judgmental statement. Aja Wilson is not likable. The statement, Aja Wilson is not likable. Okay. So I kind of wanted to touch on that. First off, I don't agree with the statement, obviously. I believe she is likable. Okay. But I want to look at why, that could be, we have such a difference. Why I think she's likable and why someone else doesn't. Okay. Number one, I do believe that this person is probably likely affected by propaganda, negative propaganda. Because if you do look, there's a lot of negative propaganda put out about Aja Wilson. Not from, say, the WNBA itself or anything like that, but from Caitlin Clark fan content creators who are like very quick to put out. I mean, they're putting out propaganda against any player that's not Caitlin Clark, right? And it's a shame how their sickness isn't clear to everyone, right? But for some reason, we have to keep reminding these people this is what they're doing, right? You'll see Angel Reese stuff, obviously, right? Then you got Aja Wilson here. You got DJ Carrington. You got I've seen now there's anti-Paige Beckers, there's anti-Juju Watkins. Anyone who is an immediate threat or an immediate competitor, and anyone who they want to be a competitor, and then anyone who may be a future competitor. Okay? No one in their eyes is allowed to like other basketball players or think other basketball players are either just as good as Caitlin Clark or better than Caitlin Clark. That's something you're not allowed to believe. You got to believe that this is the greatest women's basketball player that ever lived. If not, they got a problem. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. It's called fanaticism, right? There's fandom, which is normal fandom, and then there's fanaticism. Then there's fanatics, which is a little bit more, which is fine as well. And then there's fanaticism, which is a disease. Typically, when you add isms to any particular thing, it's a disease because now it's almost a religion, you know. And I try my level best to get these people to see, you know, where their sickness is. And those who see it, they see it. Those who don't, they don't. Okay? And so anyway, I may find Aja Wilson likable, and another person may not find her likable. And now I'm going to put aside those who are affected by negative propaganda. Now let's look at real stuff, okay? Let's say, for example, you're judging Aja Wilson based on her statement about white players being the beneficiaries of white privilege in certain areas. And it could be marketing, marketability, all of these different types of things. Now, I've talked about this before in previous videos. I've done a couple of videos prior to that. But there are those who, they feel like, oh man, this makes Aja Wilson not a nice person, you know, because she made that statement, because she said what she said about that. Okay? Ignoring the fact that she's, I mean, just all you have to do is look up the amount of endorsements that white players have versus black players in the WNBA. That's literally all you got to do. Look up the number of endorsements Sabrina Ionescu has, Kelsey Plum has, in versus, say, some other players, the black players, who may be equally as good, if not better. That's all you got to do, written honestly. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean it's racism at play. What it is they're people who are investing money, they pander to the majority, okay? And they pander to those who they feel have an ability to sell products. This is why typically more quote-unquote handsome people are models as opposed to people who are not so handsome. This is men and women. This is why people with a certain body shape and size are typically more like even on Instagram. Like who are these companies, Fashion Nova and other companies like that, going to pay to wear their product? Or people that look a certain way. This is the way that is. Why people have a problem with it, I don't know. I think there's a lot of race guilt going on, and it's so extreme that people can't have honest conversations about these things. But anyway, back to Aja Wilson. Let's say you didn't like what she said there. Let's say the other thing that I brought up, because that might be too divisive. Let's deal with this one. Where Aja Wilson is asked after the Olympics, about Kalia Copper. Okay, what he had to say about her, because Kalia Copper was pretty heroic in the the Olympic game. She's that bitch, is, I quote, what Aja Wilson said. Now, yesterday I made the point that I didn't really like her saying that. And the reason I didn't like her saying that is going to be kind of the point that I'm going to get at in this video. All right, so this is what I think has to be admitted. Part of the reason that I don't, that I consider her likable, and maybe someone like the gentleman who said she's unlikable, is I believe culture has a part in it. Race and culture has a part in it, okay? This don't mean you're a racist. This don't mean you think black people are inferior to white people. This don't mean you think black people need to be slaves. It doesn't mean that. But there's a racial and a cultural difference there that causes us to see things through those particular lenses. And because we're seeing it through that lens, we judge things a certain way. Because when you say someone is likable or they're not, though it's subjective, it's a judgment. That's what a judgment is. Okay? And this is very simple. Okay? Agent Wilson, number one, maybe the way she talks, the way she carries herself, the phrases she uses, the way she dresses, whatever. For black people who were raised with black families and all that, typically, she may remind you of a sister you have, or a cousin, or an aunt, or a mother, or whatever. And you identify that as being something likable because she reminds you of other people you like or people you grew up with, whatever. It's not threatening. You're able to understand that she doesn't mean anything bad by it. Right? Whereas the white person, Latino, Chinese, someone of a different culture, not just picking on you white people, but just someone of a different culture, they might not see it in that way. It doesn't hit them in that way. They see it as, okay, why would you curse on television? Or why would you say that word? Or why would you do that? Why aren't you speaking in a media trained way? Quote unquote. So there is in your mind, she's not likable. Okay? That's number one, is the relatability thing. Number two, this is very important. This is something about some of the differences in us culturally. And this is something that I've known through just living, okay, and also talking with white people and so on, okay? One stark difference between, generally speaking, okay, I don't want none of you Negroes, none of you black people come over here, I'm black, but I don't agree with you, you can't speak for me. Listen, I'm speaking for what I believe is the vast majority, okay? I'm you little one-offs who want to be, individuals and thinking that, not being part of a group is the way to be. That's on you, okay? You'll just be that little lone sheep, right? That's away from the flock who gets ate by the wolf, right? Now, those who know, okay? Those who just don't think there's a benefit in groupthink. That's a joke, okay? Now, this has been my observation. The dominant culture, okay, and I'm going to say it's the dominant culture because of the context that I'm going to use, and white people in general believe, and their culture is like this. Let's say you have the public space and you have the private space. Okay, so in the public space, there's certain etiquettes that must be, adhered to, which is agreed in the black culture as well. But we're going to judge people based on those public etiquettes, how well those public etiquettes are abide by. Let me give you an example. You go to work, okay? And you have, let's say you have Miranda and you have John, okay, two people at work. Miranda comes into work and she says, she's expected to say, "Good morning, John." And John is expected to say, "Good morning." All right, now don't tell me I'm wrong because I've worked many jobs. If you don't do this simple thing, speak good morning with like a chippery type of feel to it, they'll wonder, is there something wrong with you? And in some companies, in some cases, they'll try to weed you out of there, whether it's slowly or whatever. But you're expected to be able to fit into what they call the culture of the place, right? It's got a corporate America. Part of why you're there, when they're hiring, they're looking for people that can come into this place and that are able to do that. Okay? So, and this is despite whether or not, see, Miranda doesn't have to like John. She can hate John's guts to the core. But as long as, "Good morning, John," and John, "Good morning, Miranda," with a smile, you're fitting into the quote unquote culture. Okay? "Hello, How are you? Oh, I'm fine. And listen, I worked in these places and I've learned how to do that. To go and talk. It's also called just being nice, right? Just be nice. What I'm saying is that people who take this way, like those white people who take this way, they believe that that's a sign of a good person. That in the public space, they put aside how they may really feel, who they really are, and just take on this, what I call this act. Okay? And when you take on that act, wow, this person is likable because of their ability to put on this act. If I'm wrong, just break it down to me. Okay? Black people, on the other hand, most, okay? Don't come here with this just one-off black person saying, I don't agree. No, most, okay? And I've seen this too many times. And I'll even add to this Latinos I've met, okay? Aren't really raised to be this way. We just aren't, okay? We, for the most part, see the idea of speaking one way and acting one way while holding how you really feel as quote unquote being fake. It's being fake, okay? Like, so oftentimes, black people, some Latinos that I've seen or whatever, may have trouble in the workforce, especially in the beginning, until they learn how to put on this quote unquote nice guy act in the workforce, at the workplace. Okay? Now that's fine if your workplace wants this type of culture because they feel it allows for more efficiency at work. I get it. However, where black people differ is we don't use the way you act in that setting as evidence of you being a good person or a bad person. Now, let's take this to Caitlin Clark, A'ja Wilson. It's understood that Caitlin Clark probably would never ever, if placed in front of a microphone and asked about a teammate, it could be Kate Martin, me, Chelsea Mitchell, whatever, it's highly unlikely that she would ever say what she really feels. Like for real. Except for a few moments that happened last season, right? Okay? Caitlin Clark would never say, Kate Martin was that bitch. Right? Maybe because she doesn't even talk that way. But then again, I don't know about that either because we do have backstage footage of her saying this team ain't fucking better than us and stuff like that. Okay, so we know she got another side to her, right? Right? But this is the thing. In what I'll call white culture, it's fine to be an asshole in real life. Just never go in front of that camera and show it. That's fine. That means you're a good person. And listen, I'm not judging that. But what I'm saying is, with black people are more introverted. Black people are never going to judge you on that. How you are in front of the camera. You being fake, you're being fake. Right? If you're real, you're real. Like, the way you act outside the camera and the way you act inside the camera, we're going to consider all of that. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. Black people who say A'ja Wilson is likable, they say it because to them, A'ja Wilson, they believe has a good heart, genuinely. Whether or not she's in front of that camera saying, that bitch or whatever, or speaking up for, the less privileged or whatever way you want to look at it. Most people who like A'ja Wilson, they believe, no, this is genuinely really a good person. And they also judge it based on the things that teammates have said, and so on. And I don't get this new propaganda crap about teammates are leaving because of age. Well, there's no evidence to any of that. Just last season, Kate Martin said she's the greatest leader I've ever been around. Right? So we're going to just forget all of that. And we're going to go with propaganda that Ben Daniels or Fly Hippie is putting out. Where's the brains here? Like y'all gotta do a little better than that. Okay? You gotta do better than that, man. All right, so I think these are like the differences. Asia Wilson, when asked a question, she's more real. Like it's similar to if you remember Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was never the media savvy guy. He said what he felt needed to be said. There was a lot going on in his time, and he spoke up against it, and people hated him during his time. Now everyone acts like they all love Muhammad Ali, but no, during his life, no, he was hated. Okay, he was outcast, he was ostracized, he was all those things. It's later that people get an appreciation for people like that. And this is also a similar thing with Angel Reese as well. This is why I say it is cultural. And this is the truth. They refuse to kowtow to what these people are saying is the way you're supposed to act in front of a camera. Right? They're going to be who they are. But, you see, it comes down to black people going to judge Angel Reese not on that. They're going to judge her based on the fact that, she gives her teammates, gifts. She helps her little brother or big brother, whatever, helps her mother. These are the things that black people tend to look at to say, okay, now Angel Reese is a good person. Damn what she's saying in front of a camera. Okay? And so when we talk about likability, it will have some issues among these cultural lines. Now, what I suggest, my suggestion is if you are interested in being the face of the league, just a suggestion, either toe that line, saying that, these things people want to hear, or, you got to stand on it. That's all I say. If that's what, you're going to be the one to say, speak your mind, stand on it. And I understand that spirit because I'm of that spirit. I'm one of them people, I refuse to just be Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky on the channel in order to just grow a channel. I'm not going to do that. So I understand that as well. And people think I'm a bad guy because I bring up real issues and topics and I'm willing to talk about things that some other channels aren't. Some channels are just only going to talk basketball. They're only going to just talk sports. They're only going to break down film. For me, I can't go to bed at night just knowing that the only thing I'm giving back is just some damn football or some basketball. That's not gonna do it for me, So I hope what I'm saying here makes some sense to people. Because, there's really no mean will meant here, but things are what they are. So peace out.